Good morning, everybody. My name is Cardin Ia, and I just want to thank you all for having me here in Dallas this morning. And I just want to give a few lines of gratitude to the Electronic Security Association for the scholarship. To the generous donors who make scholarships like these possible, my name is Cardin Ia, and I want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to the Electronic Security Association for the scholarship. This scholarship means more to my family than I can fully put into words. My parents have spent their entire lives sacrificing so that my siblings and I could have chances they never had. Your generosity lightens a burden they have been carrying for a long time, and it gives them the ability to breathe a little easier knowing that we can be fully supported to our max potential. For me personally, this scholarship is a reminder that there are always generous people in this community who invest in youth like me and first responder families like mine. It motivates me to work harder, give back more, and become someone worthy of the trust you've placed into me. I am deeply grateful, not just for the financial support, but for what it represents. Someone saw potential in me and decided it was worth investing in, and I will not let it go to waste. On behalf of myself and my entire family, thank you. All right. Security means different things to different people. For most, it's locks on doors, officers on patrol, and the quiet assurance that someone is watching over the community. For me, it's always been something more specific. A man in a school resource officer uniform kneeling down to hand a donut to a preschooler and staying long enough to make that same child laugh, and leaving the school having made that child feel that the world was a little bit safer, and that the person in uniform was someone who was truly cared for them. My father has served the friendly community as a police officer for over 25 years. I grew up watching him leave for afternoon shifts that stretched until 2 in the morning, and over the years, the car in our driveway changed with each of his assignments. Sometimes it was a patrol car, other times it was an undercover gray sedan. He missed holidays, games, and ordinary evenings that families took for granted, but the sacrifices he made never looked like sacrifice to him. It was purpose. The image that saves me most isn't from a dramatic moment. It's from his time as a school resource officer at Duncan High School, where he did something I've thought about ever since. He didn't just keep order, he showed up for students, talked with them, guided them, and made them feel approachable in a building where authority figures often weren't. And then there were his visits to the school's preschool, where he'd bring donuts, sit and play with the kids, and simply be present with them, not as an officer, but as a person. He understood something important, that the most important thing a first responder can do isn't always the most visible. Sometimes it's showing a 4-year-old that the person in uniform isn't someone to fear, but someone who cares enough to show for them when no one else would. I didn't have words for what I was watching then, but I do now. He was building trust before it was ever needed. He was securing the community, not just with presence, but with care. That lesson became the foundation of everything I've tried to do in my life. When I noticed students at my school were curious about investing but had no place to learn, I did not wait for someone else to solve it. Instead, I used the stock market knowledge my father taught me and built that place from the ground up. My friends and I started the Future Investors Club, grew it to over 60 members, and created a space where financial literacy wasn't an insider's privilege, but something anyone could access. During my senior year of high school, when both my Interact Club community service advisors stepped down and the club was at risk of disbanding, instead of letting a club that has served the club's community for over 25 years fall apart, I personally approached teachers across campus, made my case to each of them, and secured 3 new advisors so that the club could continue serving our community even after I graduated. My father's lessons also applied how I approach my passion for computer science. Rather than building tools simply for myself, I build them around the people around me because that is what he modeled, and I watch him do that every day. When students at my school struggled to find reliable study materials, I built Cardly, a digital flashcard website that organizes the study sets I had made for my AP classes over the years. Walking into the library and seeing students I had never met before flipping through flashcards on a website I built showed me just how impactful code can be when designed around real needs. I applied that same thinking to the Future Investors Club, replacing a cluttered whiteboard for our digital online simulation stock competition with an up-to-date leaderboard website that displays live rankings of our members. And closer to home, in my family's business, I redesigned the EcoClean Service Care website with updated services, photos, pricing, and an integrated booking form that sends appointments straight to my father's inbox. The most direct reflection of my father's influence is my involvement with Fresno PAL, the same nonprofit where he volunteers on weekends, connecting local youth with police officers through mentorship and sports, and where I assist my father where he runs the league's basketball program. I didn't join just because it looked good on paper. I joined because I'd spent years watching him show up for strangers, and I wanted to help stand in that same gap he stood in. That same consistency is why I push myself to maintain a 4.0 GPA, earn valedictorian, and build clubs and tools that reach hundreds of students, because he showed me that showing up fully every time is what separates good intentions from real impact. In 2020, when public tensions around law enforcement reached its highest point in my lifetime, I wasn't watching the news. I was watching my father drive to work all through it, day after day, without complaint. That steadiness in choosing service, especially when it's hard, shaped how I see leadership and what I believe it requires. It isn't about authority, it isn't about recognition, it's about showing up consistently, caring genuinely, and doing the work whether or not anyone is watching. My father never gave me a lecture on values. He gave me something better. He gave me a standard set in the quiet moment between shifts and the gifts he brought to preschoolers who would forget his name but remember how he made them feel. I've spent my high school years trying to meet that same standard through my clubs, coding projects, and my choices, and I intend to carry that standard with me for the rest of my life. Public safety is more than patrol cars and emergency calls. It's the long, patient work of making people feel seen, supported, and valued by those who choose to serve them. My father taught me that, and everything I built, every room I walked into ready to lead, every stranger I've tried to help, it all traces back to a man in a school resource officer uniform, kneeling down to hand a child a donut, and staying long enough to make that same child smile. Thank you.